The arrival. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the Nexar exploration fleet as it approached the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star. To most of the galaxy, this world was nothing more than a footnote in history, the birthplace of a long-vanished species called humans. But to Admiral Ziravox, it represented the greatest mystery of the past 500,000 years. Zira's iridescent scales shimmered in the dim light of the bridge as she studied the holographic display of the blue-green planet. Her serpentine body coiled around the command chair, 6 eyes blinking in sequence as she processed the incoming data. Status report. She hissed softly to her second-in-command. Lieutenant Kex, a stocky amphibian with webbed hands, tapped at the console before him. Preliminary scans complete. Admiral. No signs of active technology or artificial structures on the surface. Atmosphere composition matches historical records. It appears to be a dead world. Zira's tail twitched with anticipation. And yet, here we are. The Galactic Council wouldn't have authorized this mission if they truly believed Earth to be devoid of secrets. She uncoiled herself from the chair and slithered towards the main view screen, her eyes fixed on the slowly rotating planet. Humanity, she mused, a species that went from primitive tool use to interstellar travel in less than 10,000 years. They'd reshaped worlds, harnessed the power of stars, and then vanished without a trace. Kex moved to join her, his moist skin glistening under the ship's lights. Do you really believe the legends, Admiral, that the humans ascended to a higher plane of existence? Zira's scales rippled in what passed for a shrug among her species. I believe in facts, Lieutenant. And the fact is, no one has seen or heard from a human in 500,000 years. Our mission is to find out why. She turned to address the bridge crew, a diverse collection of beings from across the Galactic Union. Prepare a landing party. I want boots on the ground within the hour. We'll start with the ruins of their largest population centers. As the crew scrambled to obey, Zira felt a tremor of excitement run through her body. This was the moment she had waited for her entire career. The chance to unravel the greatest disappearing act in galactic history. The landing shuttles descended through Earth's atmosphere, their advanced stealth systems rendering them invisible to any potential observers. Not that there seemed to be any to worry about. The planet's surface was a tapestry of overgrown ruins and reclaimed wilderness. Nature had long since erased most traces of human civilization. Zira led the first team into the crumbling remains of a city once known as New York. Massive structures of steel and glass, now wrapped in vines and worn by centuries of neglect, loomed over them. The silence was eerie, broken only by the rustling of wind through the foliage and the occasional call of a distant animal. Spread out, Zira ordered. Search for any signs of advanced technology. And remember, we're dealing with human ingenuity here. Nothing is impossible. The exploration teams fanned out through the ruins, their scanners probing for any hint of active energy signatures or hidden chambers. Hours passed with little to show for their efforts beyond a few corroded artifacts and the ever-present reminders of nature's reclamation. As the twin moons of Earth rose in the evening sky, Zira found herself standing before the remnants of a massive statue. A robed figure held aloft a torch, its features worn smooth by time. She activated her communicator. Kex, have the research team cross-referenced this location with our historical databases. I believe we're standing on what was once called Liberty Island. Before Kex could respond, a low rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. Zira's scales bristled as her instincts screamed danger. All teams, report in. What was that? The answers came in a confused babble of voices, each team reporting similar tremors across their search areas. Suddenly, a piercing shriek cut through the air, causing several of Zira's crew to clutch at their auditory organs in pain. Admiral. Kex's voice crackled through the comm. We're detecting massive energy spikes across the planet. Something's powering up. Zira's mind raced. All teams, fall back to the shuttles immediately. We may have triggered. Her words were cut off as the ground before her split open with a deafening crack. A massive metal structure began to rise from the earth, shaking off centuries of dirt and debris. Similar scenes played out across the ruined city as hidden installations revealed themselves. In orbit, the Nexer fleet watched in stunned disbelief as the planet beneath them came to life. Massive hangar doors disguised as mountain ranges slid open. Oceans parted to reveal hidden bases, and from these long dormant facilities emerged ships, human ships of impossible size and design. Zira and her team barely made it back to their shuttle as the first of these behemoths broke atmosphere. Its hull gleamed with an otherworldly sheen, covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Weapons ports bristled along its flanks, each one larger than the Nexer's biggest cruiser. As the shuttle raced back to the safety of the fleet, Zira's mind whirled with the implications of what they had discovered. The humans hadn't vanished or ascended. They had been here all along waiting. But for what? The real question, Zira realized as she watched more of the colossal ships rise from Earth's surface, was whether the galaxy was ready for humanity's return. Awakening. The Nexer fleet hung in high orbit, a collection of sleek vessels that now seemed painfully fragile in the face of Earth's awakening titans. Admiral Zira Vox coiled tightly around herself on the bridge of her flagship, all 6 eyes trained on the holographic displays showing the unfolding situation. Status report, she hissed, her scales shifting colors rapidly in a sign of agitation. Lieutenant Kex's webbed fingers danced across his console. The human vessels have taken up defensive positions around the planet, Admiral. They've made no aggressive moves, but they're not responding to our hails either. Zira's tail lashed in frustration. Keep trying all frequencies, including the ancient bands. They must be monitoring us somehow. As the tense standoff continued, Zira's mind raced through possible scenarios. The sheer scale of the deception was staggering. For 500,000 years, the galaxy had believed humanity extinct, only for them to reveal a level of technological advancement that bordered on the impossible. Admiral. Kex interrupted her thoughts. I'm picking up unusual energy readings from the lunar surface. Zira's attention snapped to the holographic representation of Earth's moon. Magnify and analyze. The image zoomed in, revealing a massive structure that seemed to phase in and out of existence. One moment it was there, a sprawling complex of crystalline spires and pulsing energy conduits. The next, it vanished, leaving only the cratered lunar surface. Cloaking technology, Zira breathed, far beyond anything in our database. Suddenly, a new voice crackled through the ship's speakers. It spoke in an ancient human language, one that only the most advanced translation programs could decipher. Attention, alien vessels. You have activated Earth's dormant defense grid. State your intentions or withdraw immediately. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Zira straightened herself to her full height, her scales settling into a determined pattern. Open a channel, she ordered. When the connection was established, Zira spoke clearly and calmly. This is Admiral Zira Vox of the Galactic Union Exploration Fleet. We come in peace, seeking knowledge of humanity's fate. We mean no harm and request a dialogue. There was a long pause, during which Zira could almost feel the weight of unseen eyes upon her. Finally, the voice returned. Your request is acknowledged, Admiral Vox. Prepare to receive coordinates for a neutral meeting ground. You may bring a small delegation. Any signs of deception or aggression will be met with immediate and overwhelming force. As the transmission cut off, Zira turned to her second-in-command. Kex, you're with me. Assemble a team of our top xenolinguists and cultural experts. Whatever happens next will shape the course of galactic history. The designated meeting place turned out to be a massive chamber deep within the lunar complex. Zira and her team were escorted through gleaming corridors that seemed to defy the laws of physics, with gravity shifting and realigning itself as they moved. They emerged into a vast circular room, its walls lined with shimmering displays, showing views of distant galaxies and mathematical equations beyond even the Nexer's understanding. At the center stood a group of beings that, at first glance, appeared to be humans as depicted in historical records. But as Zira drew closer, she realized the truth was far stranger. These entities seemed to flicker between solid form and pure energy, their features constantly shifting and reforming. When they spoke, it was with a resonance that vibrated through Zira's very being. "Welcome, children of the stars," the lead figure said, its voice somehow conveying both warmth and an unfathomable age. "We are the guardians, keepers of humanity's legacy." Zira dipped her head in respect. "We are honored to meet you, but I must ask, where are the humans themselves? Why have they hidden away for so long?" The guardian's form shimmered, and for a moment, Zira caught a glimpse of the vastness of space within its eyes. The answer to that question is complicated. Humanity, as you knew them, no longer exists in a form you would recognize. Yet, in another sense, they are more present than ever before. As the Guardians began to explain, Zira and her team found themselves grappling with concepts that stretched the limits of their comprehension. The story that unfolded was one of a species that had faced extinction, not from external threats, but from the consequences of their own rapid advancement. Centuries ago, humanity had reached a critical juncture. Their technology had progressed to the point where it threatened to outpace their ability to control it. Artificial intelligences of godlike power, the ability to reshape matter at the quantum level, and the unlocking of dimensional barriers, all of these advancements brought humanity to the brink of either transcendence or annihilation. In the end, they chose a third path. The majority of humanity uploaded their consciousness into a vast, planet-wide network. They became beings of pure information, able to experience reality in ways their physical forms never could. But they knew the galaxy wasn't ready for such a leap. So they withdrew. Earth was transformed into a massive ark, preserving the legacy of human achievement, while also standing guard against any threats that might arise in their absence. The Guardians, hybrid beings melding the best of human and artificial intelligence, were created to watch over this great work and guide the planet's eventual reawakening. As the explanation concluded, Zira found herself overwhelmed by the implications. "But why reveal yourselves now?" she asked. "Why allow us to trigger your defenses?" The lead Guardian's form coalesced into something almost human, a sad smile playing across its features. "Because it's time. The galaxy has evolved, and new challenges loom on the horizon. Humanity has watched from the shadows, and we believe the time for isolation has passed." It gestured, and the chamber filled with holographic representations of distant threats, extragalactic invaders, reality-warping anomalies, and dangers beyond easy classification. "We need allies," the Guardian continued, "partners who can help us face these challenges. Your arrival, Admiral Vox, and your reaction to our revelation has convinced us that the Galactic Union might be ready for the truth." Zira's mind reeled with the weight of this responsibility. "And if we're not?" she asked quietly. The Guardian's form flickered, and for a moment, Zira caught a glimpse of the awesome power contained within these beings. "Then we will wait, and watch, and hope that understanding comes before it's too late." As the meeting concluded, and Zira prepared to return to her ship, she knew that nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy had believed humanity a long-lost memory. Instead, they were about to re-emerge as something far greater and far stranger than anyone could have imagined. The true challenge, Zira realized, was just beginning. How would the Galactic Union react to this revelation? And more importantly, how would they prove themselves worthy of the trust humanity was cautiously extending? With a final look at the Guardians, Zira steeled herself for the difficult conversations ahead. The fate of not just Earth, but potentially the entire galaxy, now rested on the decisions that would be made in the coming days. First contact. The return journey to the Nexer fleet felt surreal to Admiral Zira Vox. Her mind buzzed with the weight of the knowledge she now carried. Knowledge that would reshape the understanding of every sentient being in the Galactic Union. As their shuttle docked with the flagship, Zira turned to her team. Not a word of this to anyone until we've had a chance to debrief and strategize. The implications are too vast to risk any misinformation spreading. The crew nodded solemnly, their expressions a mix of awe and apprehension. Even Lieutenant Kex, usually so composed, looked shaken by what they had learned. Once back on the bridge, Zira wasted no time in contacting the Galactic Union's Central Command. The quantum entanglement communicator hummed to life, creating a real-time link across the vast distances of space. The holographic form of High Counselor Nyx materialized before them, her crystalline body refracting the light in mesmerizing patterns. "Admiral Vox," she greeted, her tone carrying a note of urgency. "Your coded message has thrown the entire council into an uproar. What have you discovered?" Zira took a deep breath, her scales rippling with the gravity of the moment. "Counselor, I scarcely know where to begin. The humans, they're alive. More than that, they've evolved into something beyond our current understanding." Over the next hour, Zira recounted everything they had learned from the Guardians. She explained the fusion of human consciousness with advanced AI, the transformation of Earth into a planetary ark, and the looming threats that had prompted humanity's decision to reach out. As she spoke, Nyx's crystalline form seemed to pulse with an inner light, her faceted eyes widening in astonishment. When Zira finished, there was a long moment of silence. "This is unprecedented," Nyx finally said, her voice hushed. "The ramifications will be felt across every corner of the Union. Some will see this as an opportunity, others as a threat." Zira nodded grimly. "The Guardians are aware of this. They're extending a cautious hand of friendship, but they're also prepared to withdraw again if they deem us unready." Nyx's form shimmered as she processed this information. "We must tread carefully. Admiral, I'll convene an emergency session of the High Council. In the meantime, you are to maintain your position and continue dialogue with these Guardians. Learn what you can, but make no binding agreements without Council approval." As the communication ended, Zira turned to find her entire bridge crew staring at her, their expressions a mix of wonder and trepidation. She drew herself up to her full height, her scales. As the communication ended, Zira turned to find her entire bridge crew staring at her, their expressions a mix of wonder and trepidation. She drew herself up to her full height, her scales settling into a pattern of calm determination. "You've all heard the truth," she addressed them. "We stand at the precipice of a new era for the galaxy. Our actions in the coming days will shape the course of history. I need each of you at your best." Lieutenant Kex stepped forward, his amphibian features set in a look of resolve. "What are your orders, Admiral?" Zira's gaze swept across the bridge. "Maintain our current position. I want round-the-clock monitoring of all Earth and lunar activity. Establish a secure communication channel with the Guardians, and prepare our xenanthropologists for the task of a lifetime. They're about to study a culture 500,000 years more advanced than our own." As the crew sprang into action, Zira retreated to her private quarters. She needed time to process everything she had learned and to prepare for the delicate negotiations ahead. Hours later, a chime at her door roused Zira from her meditative coil. "Enter," she called. Kex slipped into the room, his webbed fingers clutching a datapad. "Admiral, we've received a transmission from the Guardians. They're inviting us to Earth's surface." Zira's scales rippled with surprise. "So soon? What's the nature of the invitation?" "They say they want to show us something they call the Archive of Humanity. They've provided coordinates for a landing site." Zira's mind raced with the possibilities. This could be the opportunity they needed to truly understand what humanity had become. But it could also be a trap. "Assemble a landing party," she decided. "Small group, our best scientists and diplomats. And Kex, you're with me." The descent to Earth's surface was tense, As their shuttle broke through the cloud cover, Zira and her team got their first close-up view of the transformed planet. The ruins they had explored earlier were gone, replaced by shimmering cities that seemed to blend seamlessly with the natural landscape. Massive structures floated in the sky, their purpose a mystery. They touched down in a clearing surrounded by towering trees that pulsed with an inner light. Waiting for them was a group of guardians. Their energy forms coalesced into roughly humanoid shapes. The lead guardian stepped forward, its voice resonating in their minds rather than through the air. "Welcome to New Earth, Admiral Vox. We are pleased you accepted our invitation." Zira dipped her head in respect. "We are honored to be here. You spoke of an archive." The Guardian's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. "The archive of humanity is not a place, Admiral. It is everything you see around you." With a gesture, the forest around them transformed. The trees became conduits of information, their leaves displaying snippets of human history, culture, and scientific advancement. The very air seemed alive with data, swirling around them in complex patterns. "This entire planet," the Guardian explained, "is a living record of humanity's journey. From their earliest cave paintings to the moment they transcended their physical forms, it is all preserved here, waiting to be shared with those ready to receive it." Zira and her team stood in awe, their scientific instruments struggling to make sense of the techno-organic marvel surrounding them. One of the xenoanthropologists, a jellyfish-like being named Dr. Luma, pulsed with excitement. "The potential for learning. It's beyond anything we could have imagined," Lumi burbled. "But how can we possibly interpret all of this?" The Guardian's form solidified slightly, taking on a more distinct human appearance. "That, Dr. Luma, is why we have decided to emerge from our isolation. The challenges facing the galaxy require cooperation, the sharing of knowledge and perspectives. We believe the time has come for humanity to rejoin the galactic community." Zira felt a shiver run down her spine. "And what form would this rejoining take? Surely you don't mean to reveal yourselves to the entire galaxy at once?" The Guardian's expression became serious. "No, Admiral. Such a revelation would likely cause panic and conflict. We propose a gradual reintroduction, starting with your Galactic Union. We will share our knowledge and technology in carefully measured doses, allowing your civilizations time to adapt and grow." As they continued their tour of the living archive, Zira's mind whirled with the implications. The Galactic Union prided itself on being at the forefront of science and culture. But compared to what humanity had achieved, they were children playing with toys. "There will be those who fear you," Zira said softly. "Those who will see your advancements as a threat." The Guardian nodded, its form rippling with something like sadness. "We are aware. It is one of the reasons we chose isolation for so long. But we have watched your union grow, Admiral. We believe that together, we can overcome fear with understanding." As their visit drew to a close, the Guardian presented Zira with a small, crystalline object. "This contains a fraction of our historical and scientific database, carefully curated for your current level of development. Consider it a gesture of good faith and the first step towards a new era of cooperation." Zira accepted the gift with trembling hands, understanding the monumental nature of this moment. As she and her team prepared to return to their ship, she turned to the Guardian one last time. "You've shown us wonders beyond imagination," she said. "But I must ask, what do you hope to gain from this alliance? Surely there's little we can offer beings as advanced as you." The Guardian's form seemed to soften, and for a moment, Zira caught a glimpse of the very human emotions still driving these transcendent beings. "Perspective, Admiral," it said simply. "For all our advancements, we risk becoming detached from the very essence of life that spawned us. Your species, all the diverse beings of your union, you remind us of the beauty of growth, of struggle, of seeing the universe through fresh eyes. In teaching you, we hope to remember what it truly means to be alive." As their shuttle lifted off, carrying them back to the waiting Nexer fleet, Zira gazed down at the crystalline database in her hands. She knew that the real challenge was just beginning. Convincing the Galactic Union to embrace this new reality would be a monumental task. But as she watched the shimmering beauty of New Earth recede beneath them, Zira felt a surge of hope. Humanity had not only survived, they had flourished beyond imagination. And now, they were reaching out, offering to share their journey with the rest of the galaxy. The future, Zira realized, was about to become more extraordinary than anyone had ever dreamed possible. Revelations. The days following the Nexer delegation's visit to Earth were a whirlwind of activity. Admiral Zira Vox found herself at the center of a storm of diplomatic negotiations, scientific briefings, and heated debates among the Galactic Union's leadership. The crystalline database provided by the Guardians had proven to be a treasure trove of information, albeit one that raised as many questions as it answered. Teams of the Union's brightest minds worked around the clock to decipher and understand the fragments of human knowledge contained within. Zira stood before the holographic projection of the Galactic Council, her scales shimmering with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The faces of representatives from 100 different species stared back at her, their expressions ranging from wonder to suspicion. High Counselor Nyx's crystalline form pulsed gently as she addressed the assembly. Admiral Vox, the Council has reviewed your reports and the preliminary findings from the human database. We find ourselves at a crossroads. Please, share with us your impressions. What are we dealing with here? Zira took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. Counselors, what we've discovered on Earth goes beyond anything we could have imagined. The humans haven't just survived. They've evolved into a form of life that challenges our very understanding of existence. She gestured, and holographic representations of the Guardians and the living archive of Earth appeared around her. They've merged their consciousness with advanced artificial intelligence, transforming their entire planet into a vast repository of knowledge and a platform for further evolution. A murmur ran through the assembled representatives. A Volcran delegate, his gaseous form swirling with agitation, spoke up. And their technology? The ships we've seen emerging from Earth. Are they a threat? Zira shook her head. I don't believe so, Counselor. From what we've learned, humanity's focus has been on exploration and preservation, not conquest. Their ships, while incredibly advanced, seem to be primarily designed for long-range exploration and data gathering. Then why hide for so long? Asked a Thracian representative, her insectoid mandibles clicking with suspicion. Why allow the galaxy to believe them extinct? This was the question Zira had been dreading, but also the one she knew was most crucial to address. The answer to that, counselors, lies in what the humans discovered 500,000 years ago, and what they've been preparing for ever since. With a wave of her hand, Zira brought up new holographic displays, these showing strange, swirling patterns of energy and matter at the edge of known space. The humans detected something coming, something vast, ancient, and potentially catastrophic to all life in the galaxy. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. High Counselor Nyx leaned forward, her crystalline structure refracting light in complex patterns. Explain, Admiral. What exactly did they find? Zira's scales rippled with the gravity of the information she was about to share. They call it the Omega Flux. It's a wave of energy propagating through the universe, reshaping reality in its wake. The humans theorize that it's a cyclical event, one that may have been responsible for multiple resets of galactic civilization throughout history. The holograms shifted, showing simulations of the Omega Flux's effects. Entire star systems warped and transformed, the very laws of physics rewritten. The humans realized they weren't ready to face this threat. No single species could be, so they made a choice, to step back, to evolve, and to prepare not just themselves, but the entire galaxy for what's coming. A Kareen elder, her bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with concern, spoke softly. How long do we have? Based on the humans' calculations, about 10,000 years, Zira replied. A blink of an eye in cosmic terms, but enough time for us to prepare if we work together. The council erupted into a cacophony of voices, each representative trying to make themselves heard. Accusations of human manipulation clashed with calls for immediate action. Debates over the veracity of the omega flux theory raged alongside discussions of potential evacuation plans for entire species. High Counselor Nyx raised her crystalline arms, her form pulsing with a light that commanded attention. Gradually, the chamber fell silent. "We stand at a pivotal moment in galactic history," Nyx declared. "The return of humanity and the threat they've revealed will reshape our civilization, one way or another. The question before us is not whether to act, but how." She turned to Zira. "Admiral, you've had the most direct contact with these evolved humans. In your opinion, what do they propose?" Zira straightened herself, feeling the weight of the moment. "The humans offer partnership, counselors. They've spent 500,000 years advancing their technology and understanding of the universe. Now they want to share that knowledge, to help elevate the entire galactic community to a level where we can face the omega flux together." She brought up new holograms, these showing fantastic technologies only hinted at in the database: zero-point energy reactors, space-time manipulation devices, consciousness transfer systems. But they're also keenly aware of the dangers of advancing too quickly. They propose a measured approach, gradually introducing new concepts and technologies to allow our civilizations time to adapt. The Volcran delegate's gaseous form roiled. "And if we refuse? If we decide we don't want their help?" Zira met the delegate's gaze steadily. "They've made it clear that they respect our autonomy. If the Galactic Union chooses to reject their offer, the humans will continue their preparations alone. But they believe, and I agree, that our best chance of survival lies in cooperation." High Counselor Nyx's form shimmered as she processed this information. A partnership with beings so far beyond our current level of development. It's unprecedented. There will be fear, resistance, perhaps even conflict. "Yes," Zira acknowledged. "But there will also be hope, progress, and the potential for a future grander than any of us have dared to imagine." As the council began to debate in earnest, Zira found her mind drifting back to the wonders she had witnessed on Earth. The evolved humans, for all their godlike power, had chosen to reach out, to offer a hand to their galactic neighbors. It was a testament to the spirit that had driven humanity to the stars in the first place, a spirit of curiosity, of exploration, and of facing the unknown with courage and ingenuity. Whatever the council decided, Zira knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The long-lost children of Earth had returned, bearing gifts of knowledge and warnings of trials to come. The true test now lay in how the diverse species of the Galactic Union would rise to meet this new reality. As the debates raged on, Zira allowed herself a moment of quiet optimism. Humanity had survived and thrived in the face of unimaginable challenges. Perhaps, with their guidance, the rest of the galaxy could do the same. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with potential dangers and marvels beyond comprehension. But it was a path they would walk together, united by the most fundamental drive of all sentient beings, the will to survive, to understand, and to touch the very fabric of the cosmos itself. A new era, the decision of the Galactic Council reverberated across the stars. After days of intense debate and careful consideration, a historic vote was cast. The Galactic Union would accept humanity's offer of partnership, embarking on a journey that would reshape the very fabric of their civilization. Admiral Zira Vox stood on the observation deck of her flagship, gazing out at the shimmering blue-green orb of Earth. The planet was no longer a silent enigma, but a beacon of both hope and trepidation for the galaxy's future. Lieutenant Kex approached, his webbed feet making soft pattering sounds on the deck. "The first joint scientific teams are ready to begin their work, Admiral. Representatives from 12 Union species will be working alongside the Guardians in the Earth Archive." Zira nodded, her scales rippling with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "And the security protocols?" "In place, as agreed," Kex confirmed. The humans have been remarkably accommodating. They've even allowed our technicians to install monitoring systems of our own design. A wry smile played across Zira's serpentine features. Not that those systems would do much good if the humans truly wanted to hide something from us. But the gesture of transparency is appreciated. As they watched, a fleet of small shuttles descended towards Earth's surface, carrying the first wave of Union scientists and diplomats. It was a sight Zira had never thought she'd see, the beginning of a true intermingling of evolved humanity and the wider galactic community. It's really happening, isn't it? Kex mused, his amphibian eyes wide with wonder. We're about to leap forward in ways we can't even imagine. Zira's tail twitched thoughtfully. Yes, but we must be cautious. The humans' warning about the dangers of advancing too quickly is well-founded. We're walking a tightrope between progress and potential catastrophe. Their conversation was interrupted by a chime from the communication panel. Admiral, a voice called out, we're receiving a transmission from the lunar base. The Guardians are requesting your presence for the initiation ceremony. Zira straightened herself, smoothing her scales into a formal pattern. Very well. Kex, you have command of the fleet. I'll return shortly. The journey to the lunar base was swift, the advanced human transportation technology making the vast distance seem trivial. Zira found herself in a vast chamber, surrounded by representatives from across the Galactic Union and a group of Guardians whose energy forms pulsed with an almost palpable sense of anticipation. At the center of the chamber stood a holographic representation of the galaxy, swirling with points of light representing countless stars and civilizations. The lead Guardian, the one Zira had come to know as the Voice, stepped forward. Admiral Vox, honored representatives of the Galactic Union. The Voice began, its tone resonating with both warmth and solemnity. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in the history of our galaxy. The children of Earth have slumbered long, evolving and preparing. Now we awaken fully, ready to join hands with our cosmic siblings. With a gesture, the Voice caused the galactic hologram to zoom in on a particular region. We will begin by sharing our advancements in clean energy production. Several of your worlds are facing ecological crises that this technology can help alleviate. Another gesture, and the hologram shifted to show strange, twisting structures that seem to defy conventional physics. Next, we will introduce the basics of dimensional engineering. This will revolutionize your approach to space travel and colonization. As the Voice continued outlining the initial phases of knowledge sharing, Zira felt a sense of vertigo. The scope of what humanity was offering was staggering, and yet she knew this was only the barest fraction of what they had achieved. And what of the Omega Flux? Asked the Thracian representative, her mandibles clicking nervously. How do we prepare for something so vast and unknowable? The Voice's form shimmered, taking on a more distinct humanoid shape. The Omega Flux is the greatest challenge our universe has ever faced, but it is not insurmountable. Our research suggests that with the combined efforts of all sapient life, we can create a galactic shield, a network of reality anchors that will preserve our existence even as the universe around us is reborn. The hologram changed once more, showing a mesmerizing web of energy spreading across the galaxy. This is the true purpose of our awakening, of our partnership, to unite all life in the face of cosmic annihilation. It will take millennia of work, of trust building, of technological and spiritual advancement. But together, we believe it can be done. As the ceremony continued, outlining the grand vision of a united galactic civilization, rising to meet an unimaginable threat, Zira found her mind drifting to the enormity of the task ahead. The galaxy she had known, with its complex politics and age-old conflicts, would be transformed. Change on this scale would not come easily or without resistance. Yet, as she looked around the chamber at the diverse array of beings from across the Union, Zira felt a surge of hope. Here were creatures of every conceivable form, crystalline, gaseous, energy-based, organic, all united in their determination to face the future together. The ceremony concluded with a symbolic gesture. Representatives from each species, including Zira herself, were invited to add their genetic or energy signatures to a shimmering orb. This orb, the voice explained, would be the seed of a new galactic database, one that would preserve the essence of all sapient life against the coming storm. As Zira pressed her scaled hand against the orb, feeling the warm pulse of countless civilizations within, she was struck by a profound realization. Humanity, in its long isolation and incredible evolution, had not lost touch with the core of what made them unique. Their drive to explore, to understand, to reach out across the vastness of space and time, it had only grown stronger. They had prepared for 500,000 years, advancing to heights of technological and spiritual development beyond imagination. And yet, when faced with a threat to all existence, their first instinct had been to reach out, to offer partnership, to believe in the potential of unity. As the gathered representatives began to disperse, each returning to their worlds with the monumental task of preparing their people for the changes to come, Zira found herself approached by the voice. "Admiral," it said, its form flickering with what might have been a smile, "you've been instrumental in bridging the gap between humanity and the Galactic Union. We hope you'll continue to play a crucial role in the years to come." Zira dipped her head in respect. "It's been the greatest honor of my life," she replied. "But I can't help wondering, with all your power, your knowledge, why put your faith in us? Surely you could face this threat alone." The voice's form shimmered, and for a moment, Zira caught a glimpse of the vast complexity within. Countless human minds, merged with unfathomable AI, yet still driven by very human emotions. "Because, Admiral," the voice said softly, "in all our explorations, all our advancements, we've learned one truth above all others. Life, in all its diverse forms, is precious beyond measure. And it is in the collision of different perspectives, the melding of varied experiences, that the greatest wonders are born." As Zira prepared to return to her ship, she carried with her a profound sense of the journey ahead. The galaxy stood on the brink of a transformation unlike any in its history. There would be challenges, setbacks, perhaps even conflicts. But there would also be wonders beyond imagining, discoveries that would reshape their understanding of reality itself. Humanity had returned, not as conquerors or saviors, but as partners in the grandest adventure of all, the fight for the very future of life itself. And as Zira looked out at the star-studded expanse of space, she knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, united by the indomitable spirit that had driven life from its very beginnings, the will to survive, to understand, and to touch the very face of eternity. The new era had begun, and the universe itself seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of what was to come.